now we have a following problem. Let's say that in any point of time we want to delete this last row of the invoice. Okay, VLOOKUPs will end up in an error message that reads no answer, and actually it will also end up in the price without sales tax, which means that all the sums will be as errorless as well. So let's do an undo in here, and now let's handle this error as well. What we need to do is we need to check if this cell here is empty. If nothing is entered, we won't do a VLOOKUP. If something is entered, we will do a VLOOKUP. More so because we can only enter the correct values in here. So here it is. Let's do it. We are going to write an if in here. So VLOOKUP is going to be surrounded by an if. That's right. Equals if parentheses begin, and we check whether B13 equals quotation mark. So quotation mark stood for empty. We are checking if the cell B13 is empty. And in that case, let's not do anything in here. So we are also leaving this cell empty. We write quotation mark, which leaves this product category empty. And otherwise, if we don't have an empty, we will have some kind of a product name. Then we do the VLOOKUP just the ordinary way. So here's the rest of the if. So we can now go over that this if, actually the way this if worked. This was the first part of the if, checking for emptiness. This was what to do, inserting empty, and this was what to do in the opposite case. In the opposite case, we inserted the VLOOKUP and did the usual calculations. Okay, the same thing, let's check whether it works. Yeah, now it is empty nicely. The same thing could be done for the numbers. The only thing is we cannot leave the usual emptiness, quotation mark in here. We rather would have to leave number 0, because otherwise it tries to somehow multiply together these quotation marks and it still will result in an error. So let's take this formula and let's surround this with if as well. Equals if parentheses begin. Now once again we're going to be checking whether the cell over there is empty. So we do if B13 equals quotation mark, if B13 is empty, semicolon, then we leave a 0. So it's 0. Otherwise, we do a VLOOKUP. Okay, let's enter it. And here it is. Now, if we delete it, everything will be just nice. And we have to copy these two ifs. So at first this formula, let's copy it up. And this formula next. Let's copy this one up as well. Okay, now if we delete something, it's just gonna not result in an error. And this is it for this exercise.